how does your approach to reading a script differ when working with a new play as opposed to, directing a more established work?
Yeah, so with like when you're just directing an established piece, that playwright's not in the room with you, and I think it's more subject to like your team interpretation of that work. But when you're working with a new play and you're developing a new play, um, in my opinion, kind of your goal is to get that playwright vision up on stage as accurately as possible, kind of like make their dreams come true. And you're kind of working together as a team. And you have that person in the room to be like, hey, this scene, what did you mean? Or what ideas did you have? Or kind of like what feelings were surrounding this, where you don't really get that with like, a pre-established like piece of text. So I think that's kind of like your biggest difference.
All right. And just kind of curious, is there like something that would attract you more to like something that's, still in the works or, still being established versus something that is more established and, has already been done over and over and maybe has, different takes, but, it's already established. So I was just kind of curious to see your perspective on working on something that is, still cookie dough essentially.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I love that like metaphor is like still cookie dough. I think okay, so I love new plays because it's like that cookie dough, right? You're all like together, you're like putting things together, and then you're mixing it up, and you're not like you kind of may have an idea depending on like where that play started, what it's gonna look like, but it's not really until like kind of the conclusion of the process that like you put it in the oven and you're like, oh wow, this smells like really good. And then like you you have a reading and you like take a bite and you're like, okay, this also tastes like really good. And we all like were a part of like kind of putting it together and helping this person who was like, hey, I want to make cookies. And we're like, all right, we're gonna make cookies. Like, let's all make cookies. So it's just like it's that kind of whole thing of like you really get to see and put your hands in an idea and like it coming to life in just kind of every aspect. And that's just for me, that's thrilling.
What are specific challenges that you come across when casting for a new play?
Yeah, so casting for a new play, I'm specifically looking for really, really giving individuals, individuals that are really ready to kind of like change on the fly, who are ready just to kind of be there and to really be immersed as part of the team, and who like want to actively participate in building this brand new world. People that really aren't precious about like ideas that they have coming into the room. They're like, oh yeah, like okay, cool, we'll change, we'll go this way, or I'll try this way, or hey, I had an idea and I was maybe thinking about this. And people are just really, really, really collaborative in every sense of the word. Because I think that just kind of will make your play development process like way more fun and super fruitful when you have actors that are really willing to give just as much as they possibly can to the process and the product. Like, so that is the primary thing that I look for is like finding people with giving hearts to put them in the room.
Gotcha. And this is just a question off the top of my head. When it comes to, having actors, do you prefer actors that, kind of come in and create their like own take on the character, give like their own feedback on who they think this person is? Or do you prefer to kind of have like more control over that, or you leave it up to the playwright?
Oh, I mean, I love collaborative rooms. So I think like actors are just as much part of this process as anybody else. And so if they come in with full ideas, then I'm like, yes, more, more, more. It is so much easier to take a lot of ideas and then to filter it down than to like try to pull ideas out of people. And I think that also gives a playwright a chance to kind of look at a character and go, oh, I never thought of it that way. But that is exactly what I meant. And we never would get that if an actor didn't come in with those ideas kind of like already brewing.
What is one thing you wish audiences knew about reading and or seeing plays in progress?
Yeah, so something that I wish people, if not would know, would remember, and it's that every every piece of art that you love started in a situation like this. It started in a room with a bunch of people going, let's try to make this thing come to life. Or like, let's try to put it together. And that's really what you're watching. Like you are watching the beginning of something, and like it's good for you as an audience member to envision the piece's future. Like we're right there with you when you're watching us build it and when you're watching a reading. It's just, things are just as new to us as they are to you when you're taking a part of it. So like, go ahead and kind of like let your imagination see the future of this piece and know that like you're part of the beginning just as much as we are. And this piece could become anything. And, you know, and like you're here for that.
So this is the last question I have for you today. What is the most challenging or rewarding thing about working with, plays in development?
Yeah, so I think a challenging thing that is kind of good for, I think maybe every team member to kind of think about, and then directors especially, is just kind of like decentering yourself during a process like this. This is less about like, I have an idea and I want to see this idea come to life. It's more about like, all right, we have somebody with a vision and a voice. How can I help that come to life? How can I support this room of people and these individuals instead of kind of making it about my ideas? You're always asking, uh, what does the play need? What does the playwright need? How can I help it get there? What can I be doing to support that? And I think that can sometimes be a challenge. You have to kind of like check yourself before you come into the room and go, okay, like, am I asking these questions because I want to see that happen? Or am I asking these questions because this is what will best service? This is what the playwright has communicated. This is like what we're going for as a whole. But then there's the huge reward of that. It's seeing, the piece kind of grow and the people work together and this cookie be baked and everyone taking a big bite and being so excited and imagining this future together. And it happened with everyone like coming together and doing this thing as a unit, as like all equals coming together and creating it.